It's in process. Okay, we are live now. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. My name is Dr. Neha. I'm a clinical psychologist, psychotherapist, speech therapist, and as you know me already because I'm doing a lot of streams. But and you already know that I'm calling guests from other countries. And today I have this opportunity to call a guest from Philippines, and his name is Jim, and he's going to introduce himself by in his own in his own wording or his own way. But I would like to tell you over here is that he have a good page on Instagram with the same name of Lit Psyche, and over there he's talking about social psychology, how the belief is going to change, how you could the attitude are changed, how we're talking about imposter syndrome and things like that. So we will discuss a lot of things from him detail, and we will ask him or we will request him to introduce himself. Thank you so much for coming, and I would like to welcome you from Pakistan. So please, over to you, Jim. I would like you to introduce yourself first.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone watching. So, my name is Jim. I am calling in from the Philippines. I'm 25 years old and I am the founder of the page Light Psych. And it's also up on YouTube. So, what I do personally when I'm not doing Instagram and YouTube is I work as a operations lead for a startup in the UK concerned with market research. Basically, my job is to make sure that the data that comes in our company is organized and sorted well. In the Philippines, I also have another job, which is to work as an associate for a learning and development consulting firm. And basically, I do everything, but the biggest project I would say that I've had is a culture intervention with a food and beverage company where we assess the values and the culture fit of the people that they have currently.
Okay, so how you came up this idea with developing a page which is targeting the social psychology? Because in Instagram I have seen a lot of page who are targeting mental health things. They are targeting the depression, that they're targeting the anxiety, but very few people are targeting the social psychology because you targeted, for example, imposter syndrome. I have seen a lot of things you talk about them. You talk about attitude. You talk about beliefs. You talk about social transformation. So how you come up with that idea?
So LightSpsych actually started in the year 2020 during the pandemic. So a little backstory. My last full-time job was around January of 2020, and I was anticipating to take my master's in the Netherlands. But an important factor for me to go through my master's was to get the scholarship in that university, which I didn't. And I did get admitted, but I didn't get the scholarship. And so there was boiling frustration for myself during the pandemic because I couldn't go out. And then obviously I wasn't pursuing my dream of the master's. And as I was looking for things to do in the meantime, as I was unemployed, there was a surge of people, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, where people started becoming content creators. Most of my friends turned to podcasting. Some also started YouTube channels. And I was wondering, you know what, maybe I can do that as well. And I was thinking, but what will it be about? And so as I was looking for inspiration, I ran into literally an academic study of what would have been used for my thesis, or at least an inspiration for my thesis, had my master's continued. And I thought to myself that a lot of the psychology content that we consume now on social media are correct or are valid, but they're mostly classical studies that have existed for a long time. But there have been many recent studies that have challenged or at least rectified the findings that is currently being spread now on things like TikTok and Instagram. So I thought to myself, maybe it would be good if I could create digests or summaries of these studies and share it to people in such a way that it's understandable and it can be easily relatable, even if you're not an academic or even if you're not a college student or a graduate student. And that's where it really started.
Okay, so you over here you talk about Instagram and uh, TikTok and other social sites as well. And in current situation, I mean, uh, the pandemic, it changed the whole world in different level, and still people don't know that how it changed us. People will take some time because whenever something happened to you, if it's in kind of some trauma, then you need some time to digest that. You need some time to comprehend that information. After some time, that when the dust is settled, you get to know that what happened to you, or what happened to the generation as well, or what happened to the society as well. So you started after in that time period. So okay, tell me, the post you are doing or the researches you are doing, are these real researches? Because you told me before, when we were coming live, you told me talk about the aspect that you're doing a lot of researches, and you're taking the data and you're making the cluster of these data. So are these real researches, or you're just taking facts and figures from the random or study?
Okay, so the source of the researches that goes onto YouTube and Instagram are actual studies from academic journals. So basically, the criteria that I personally use when looking at, okay, what episode or what content will we make for this week? It's a very simple question of, am I going to read this personally? Because I think one of the
Okay.
difficulties when it comes to bridging the gap between science and the common person is that the
Mm-hmm.
way that researches are written is not very common person friendly. It uses very technical language that requires education or some level of expertise for you to appreciate what's going on. And so I thought to myself, if I find a study that I think would be interesting for a common person or would be interesting for myself, like just as a normal student, then that would be something that will be interesting to put content on. So our sources vary. It can come, for example, from the British Journal
True.
of Psychology or the American Psychological Association. But as much as possible, we want to make sure that the studies are recent. The earliest that we take is from 2019, so that the information that we share with people is still something that's fresh and relevant to everyone.
Yes, because I'm also somehow involved in that thing, and my job is, I'm working with University of Sheffield, Canada, and actually my job is to create the journal, and my job is they just give me the they give me a lot of articles. It could be 10 articles, it could be 12 articles, even it could be 12, 20 articles. So they ask me
Yeah.
to identify the information, and they ask me to make the cluster just like the way you're doing it. But and they also ask me to identify the factors as well. So what are the factors involved in that thing? And interesting thing is I did a lot of work research. My most research was in the tea, and there's a lot of relevation. And basically the work is on risk taking behavior in teenage. You might have observed
Yes.
that as well. Nowadays teen are very aggressive, and
Yeah.
they are doing a lot of risk taking behavior, and sometimes they are creating problems for their own self as well. It's not just about their family, it's for themselves as well. It's not just for the community, and they're involving a lot of acts. For example, just like you talk about social media, you talk about TikTok. A lot of people are creating content which are not relevant. I mean, they're not, maybe they're just misbehaving with someone, disrespecting with someone, or making fun of someone, making fun of old age people, and they make this. You might have seen these things a lot, and people are looking at them, people are appreciating them, and people are uh, giving them reward of a thing which is creating a lot of problems in our society, because these are not our customs. These are not our things, but even then they are doing these things. So I really like the idea that you're taking the real data, and I'm sure and your data is relevant as well. Because the thing about research is, if you are doing some research and you're posting about maybe 1999, it's not relevant. Maybe for the research paper it is
Right.
relevant, but you know on the aspect, for example, if we talk about economic aspect of something, or we talk about how many people are using Zoom for the meeting, or how many people are using social media to raise their voice, or how many people are using social media for positivity. So it could be relevant thing as well. But if you talk about back 2 or 3 year back, because the world is totally changed. So I really like the idea that you're taking the real facts and figures, and you also have a YouTube channel as well. I've seen that as well. So what about the channel? Because on Instagram these are still things, you make just 4 to 5 slides, but for YouTube you need to make a lot of efforts. You need to create a lot
That's
of
right.
data, you need to create a lot of content for that. So how you do
Yep.
that?
I think how we do it is basically a shortened version of how you would do your review of related literature for a undergraduate thesis. So when preparing for a script for YouTube, we I have a script writer, so the two of us really go through the study and we read from abstract to the recommendations. But what we do focus on, because again, we'd like to present the studies in a way that is relevant to everyone, we mostly gloss over the methods, although we are aware of what methods or like what statistical tests were used in the experiment or in the studies. What we really focus on is the discussion section and the results findings. So if the script were to be described, it would be what? So what's the findings? And then so what? So what does this mean for a common person? Now that I know this, what does this mean for my life? What can I do better or what should I do differently?
Okay, so what kind of response you're getting from the viewers, either in the inbox or what is the response of the people?
As we're in the very early stages of YouTube, right now there aren't a lot of engagement. It's more of thanks for informing me about this. So I guess we're just breaking into the first level of awareness because a lot of the things that we talk about so far, we have about 16 episodes. Some are very common knowledge, like, for example, flow, the concept of flow, or the concept of imposter syndrome. But there are also variables
True,
in
true.
there that may be new to some people, such as how imposter syndrome comes out in a first generation student. So there are those things that I think aren't commonplace yet in the general knowledge of people. So at least on YouTube, the feedback has been, "Oh, this is new. Thanks for this." But on Instagram, there is a bit more engagement in terms of people saying, "Oh, this is a nice thing to hear," or "This is a nice thing to talk about." Because compared to YouTube, where it's more educational, in Instagram, it is educational, but there's a bit more inspirational twist to it because we want the content to be something that's very short, but also drives people or inspires people.
So okay, you just did a post about uncertainty, and last week I did a I have a guest, and who was from I guess he was from US also. So we just talked about uncertainty, and our topic was basically about it was about anxiety. So how certainty is going to change the anxiety? So okay, our you was over there. We were giving the concept of CBT, how your thoughts are negative, how you're going to change the thoughts, how you're going to change or challenge these thoughts as well. So if I talk about the specific post about uncertainty, so over here, what you targeted or what researches, or I would like you to ask you, what did you find in that research that you study about uncertainty?
Okay, so this is actually an episode coming out in 2 days, but I will talk briefly about it. So one of
Okay.
the special elements, I suppose, of the COVID-19 pandemic is that for a very long time
Okay.
we didn't know what we were up against. We don't know when it's going to end, even when we are already vaccinated. So the research for this week's episode talked about a new phenomenon called uncertainty distress, which basically is when we're distressed because we don't know something. And a unique characteristic of this is that when you're in a state of uncertainty distress, you're looking for something that may not even be there. So what they're saying is this is a combination of being anxious or being fearful and being uncertain, and it's a mismatch of all of these. And what they're saying is that while it came out of the pandemic, this kind of labeling of this situation is applicable to basically any situation that you might face in life where you can't see the end, you can't see the beginning, and you can't make sense of it. And what they're saying is, let's just, as with anything, it starts with awareness and properly labeling your emotions because it gives you control over how you can approach your situation.
Well said. Well said. Well said. So even in therapy, it starts from, accepting your own emotion. People are coming to us, they don't even know what to talk, how to talk, and what they are going through. So awareness is something you need to label your own feeling as well. Okay, so let us talk about a little bit. You overhead, you said that about imposter syndrome. I would like you to tell other people or viewers who are watching us, what is the imposter syndrome?
So basically, imposter syndrome is when you feel like your achievements and your accomplishments in life are not true. You feel like people can one day discover that you are a fraud and that everything that you've accomplished in your life is a lie. And I think this episode was particularly geared towards college students because college students face a lot of pressure when it comes to performing academically, but there's also a social pressure, especially if you're the firstborn in the family to go through college education. There's a pressure to uplift your family from poverty and be the breadwinner. And even if you're not the firstborn, there's also a pressure to continue the legacy of your family and continue as a college graduate like your brothers and sisters. And again, awareness is the first step here, and recognizing that you have your strengths, and at the same time it is okay to question them, but it's always a balance. The problem with imposter syndrome is we get overwhelmed with, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, people are going to discover that I'm a fraud, when we completely ignore the facts that we do have accomplishments and we are capable of things.
Okay, so over here we'll talk about a little bit about individual differences, that you are never going to compete other people because you two people are different. Even people come from the same family, even
Yeah.
siblings, intelligence could not be same, and all this thing because these things are so important. And over here, I think in this time period, people are in more pressure. We totally need to make them understand that it's okay if you're failing. It's okay if you have to do something. If it's okay, you have to start from the scratch. There's no shame in starting from the scratch, and there's no shame in going on the longer way, hard work. At the end of the day, you will achieve what you strive for. And I would also add up our thing over here. Whenever you are making some goal for yourself, it should be very realistic. If you are going to make a goal which is not realistic, I'm sure you will agree to this point as well, that you are going into anxiety, you're going into suffering, and you're going into depression as well,
Yes,
because you cannot achieve
definitely.
that thing. And I'm sure you might have studied these things as well, that these are some common simple basic things, but we don't talk about these things. And I think we need to talk about these things more and more, just like you're talking about imposter syndrome, that it's important. It's a very unique phenomena as well, that it's, for me, what I get from you is it's presumed sense of responsibility. Like you're putting everything on your shoulder, and you're putting, society on your shoulder as well, because ever here it's the comparison from your neighbor, comparison from your leaders, maybe comparison from some scholar, comparison from somebody in the family, or somebody in the
Yeah.
community. So okay, what do you think about these things? Did you get my question, or should I repeat it?
Hello, I sorry, I didn't quite catch the last part.
Okay, my question is that how a person can come out of these thing, or you could say the imposter syndrome, or how can
Oh,
the
okay.
person be, stay in his reality and his limitation as well. He knows his limitation as well.
That's a great question because I the YouTube channel I think is a testament to myself overcoming my own imposter syndrome. The idea for the YouTube channel actually started way back in 2018, but it took me 2 years to actually
Okay.
start it and actually get on with it. The primary challenge that I faced, or the primary question that I always asked myself, was number one, am I good enough or am I credible enough to do it? And then number two, are people going to care about what I share? Those are the two primary questions that I struggled with. So let's deal with the first questions. The first question: am I good enough or am I credible enough to do it? This really came from a realistic understanding that when you create content online, you have a certain responsibility over the information that you share. And because you have that responsibility, it comes with a pressure, of course, to hold some form of credential to be able to say those things. Now, how I dealt with this basically was, if I don't have a master's degree, or if I don't have a PhD, I don't have the certifications, then let's stick with what we know. Let's use research. So for me, that became the response to, am I good enough or am I credible enough? Because the answer is, even if I am not to that level yet, I do have resources that will allow me to share credible information, that will allow me to share good information for the people. So that's the first one. The second one is, will people care? This is a more complicated question, because when it comes to content creation, of course, there's a long-term vision of being successful. A monetized channel, lots of followers, etc. And if you take a look at content creation from that perspective, then it becomes a race. And when it becomes a race, then it becomes a question of, am I popular enough? Am I good looking enough? Etc. So I think the mindset shift from me at this point was to just start. And as I was looking up ways on how to, successfully build a YouTube channel, successfully build an Instagram following, the insight that I got was, there's so many people in the world. It's virtually impossible that not even one person will find that what you're sharing is not valuable. That someone will always be happy to read what you share, someone will always be happy to listen to what you share. So, what to glean from this really is, when it comes to fighting imposter syndrome, I think the very first step is to have a realistic understanding of the situation and of yourself. I think when we have imposter syndrome, there is a big disconnect in our perception of reality and the actual reality. When we think that, oh, everyone thinks I'm not good enough, when you have your accomplishments and you have your achievements that say otherwise. When you're grounded in facts, when you're grounded in the reality of what can be done and what can't be done, then you can ask questions like, so if I can't do this, is this something that I should pursue, or is there a way around it, or do I need to ask help? Because part of the problem in imposter syndrome is you feel very isolated from everyone, when in reality, no one's stopping you from asking help. No one's stopping you from seeking support. That's why, for me, I have a team working with me on Light Psych right now, because I know I can't do it by myself. So if you're grounded in that reality and really assess your capabilities, I think imposter syndrome can be overcome.
Okay. Okay. So it's that's whenever we're talking to someone, then there I find very few people who are so true to themselves, because over here you are giving your own example, your own life example. And it's very easy if you because you might have studied the therapy as well. You know that we cannot share our own personal problem in our therapy, but when we do discussion, then we are very open about the discussion. And even sometimes we need to make something like that, we are presuming that maybe it happened with someone and stuff like that, because at that moment your credibility is challenged, because people think that you are somebody who's perfect. You cannot have some problems, you cannot have some pain, you cannot have some ache, you cannot have some social responsibility as well. So whenever they came to, even they are expecting from you that the moment they message you, you're supposed to respond to them. So
Respond.
and I think that is also a form of thing. You could say, yeah, you're supposed to respond them. And even they get annoyed as well, why you didn't respond. And, so, said that question, I was taking a session, and allow me to talk to some other person as well. So even she was so much annoyed with me as well, so she was angry as well. So what could you do as well? Okay, so the thing over here is that uh, okay, we talk about imposter syndrome. Okay, let's talk about belief, attitude, and social transformation. Okay, what I would say that what you are doing is already social transformation as well. Either it's through your YouTube channel or you through your Instagram. And one thing I would like to mention, one thing, that Instagram viewership is different, YouTube viewership is different, and Facebook viewership is also different. So these are three different things, and their educational level is also different. Their taste is also different. So sometimes you wonder that a person is put us some kind of random picture, which maybe he's doing some kind of silly thing, and there that picture got maybe thousand of likes, and 130, 140, you're looking very great, you're doing great and stuff like that. But whenever you put something, you need to take care of your family, you need to take care of your parents, you need to take care of your family, the people don't pay any attention. But what, there are big discrepancy among these things, and maybe a time will come when people understand this aspect, that what is the reality and what we need to talk about. And maybe the way you are doing this, the way you are awareness, creating awareness, and which is limited time and targeted as well. I mean, in 2-3 minutes it's very difficult to give a whole concept on
Yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
3 slides it's very difficult, I must say that, because it's very difficult to sum up the whole research. And I would say that
Yeah.
it's a job you're doing. And that's why even when I saw your post, that was so calculated, in 1 out of 75 happening to this thing and stuff like that. So I really appreciate the work you're doing. Let's talk
Thank
about
you.
the topic which we said. You're welcome, by the way, and keep up doing this good work. Okay, let's talk about attitude, belief, and transformation. So I would like you to talk about this, because I'm sure you have studied a lot of these researches as well. So attitude, belief, and social transformation. Let's talk about this.
I think what research says can be a little daunting. It can become very technical, because then you're going to start delving into, oh, what personality traits, for example, can enable better pro-social behavior or better lead you to success. For example, we know the big five. So the ocean, people will say, oh, if you have higher conscientiousness, then maybe you'll be more successful in life. And I think that while these things do have some value, I think that it pays well for us to take a step back and just think about beliefs, attitudes, and social transformation as concepts. And again, I want to share a little bit about how I approach life, right? So very recently, because of my work in the learning and development sphere, we run these purpose workshops, and basically, the goal of this workshop
Okay.
is to for you to create your why, because we often hear that you have to find your why because it will ground you in your life and it will help guide you. So I'd like to share my why to everyone today, and my purpose statement is to unleash courage so that we can live authentically, so that our life is more meaningful. And I'm going to unpack that in terms of beliefs and attitudes. So the fundamental belief there is that a lot of our frustrations in life come from the fact that we do things that we don't actually want to do, or that we feel like we're in situations or we're forced to make decisions that we have no choice in the or we have no say in doing so. And because of that, we often find ourselves in situations where we don't want to be there, or we're ungrateful for being there. And that's become the primary motivation for me to tell myself that, so if that's the belief, right, how are we going to approach life then? And from there, the attitude then changes. The attitude then is, it's going to be uncomfortable at first, but I have to fight and I have to assert for the life that I want to live. If that means saying no to things because I genuinely don't want to, I have to get used to it. I have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And from there, the transformation and the behavior changes slowly just builds up. But again, it starts with the belief and it starts with the attitude. And if you take away all the research, right, and if you're just a common person listening to this, it also pays for you to just reflect a little bit on what are my core beliefs, or what are the things that I hold, what are the beliefs that I hold very personal to myself. So some things like, oh, religion is very important to me, my faith is very important to me, my family is very important to me. And once you connect these things and you decide based on these things, and everything kind of just aligns. And once you have your personal self aligned, or at least transformed, then you're going to be able to have more to give to others and more to give to society. Because if you're drained by yourself at home because you don't feel like it's a safe place, or you don't feel like your work is something that you want to do, then it's just less likely that you have energy or resources to expend to share with others.
True. So I would again say, I will again appreciate the way you describe everything by giving your own personal example and attitude and transforming into belief and the social transformation, because it's always start from you. Whether we are talking about social, it will start from you. If you're not comfortable enough what you are doing, if you're not comfortable, if you're not even contented, because nowadays it is very difficult to stay contented what you have, because you see a lot of, what would I say, on social media or stuff like that, we see a lot of lies. Even I came across one post over there, a person was giving his stuff to to social media people, to influencers, so to come give their luxury lifestyle. So the person got some, I mean, guess he got some aeroplane, and there was, he got something else as well, some luxury room as well. So people were coming to that person as well and taking pictures. Oh, we are going to some trip with A class business trip, and this is our hotel, we are staying there. So no, that was how he was selling his, you could say, his business. So whenever we're talking about social transformation, it always starts with you and me. But okay, let's talk about the recent attitude what you're talking about, because but you start, you talk well, you talk about Instagram and other things as well. And because whenever I see a lot of things which are irrelevant, which are maybe time consuming for you people, which are maybe a joke, maybe you can put your life into threats, because we have seen a lot of people get their life was, they were no more while they were making these videos. To gain attention of the people, they can do anything. Their behavior is attention seeking. I'm sure you will agree to that thing, that it is all about attention seeking. Even there was a time when they were thinking about uh, putting that notion about those people who all the time want the likes, those people who all the time want the comments, and if they don't get, then they get depressed as well. So I would like you to comment on that thing as well, that the the culture which we are now, nowadays, how this is going to transform us socially, and how it is changing our norms with the passage of time, and how we can challenge these things, because one time will come when we will looking for the ways how to overcome these things, how to overcome the anxiety which is pretended anxiety, how to overcome the depression which is pretended depression, that oh, I don't get the like, oh, what I'm going to
Yeah.
do. That person got a lot of life, don't have life, and the social media life is different from the personal life. So I would like you to take some advice from you, the things you study from the different researches as well. So what would you like to comment on that?
I think when we talk about social media and the sort of validation that we get from it, it's not all bad. I think it can also become a source of inspiration. For example, when you find people who you think can be your idols and pursue the career that they did, or pursue the kind of passions that they did. I think social media has become a victim of being simplified to being, oh, it's very bad for everyone. It's not necessarily just that. It has also paved the way for us to be connected to people instantly, basically at any time and every time. So it has its pros. But when it comes to its cons of, we get caught up in the validation on the likes and the comments and the shares. We often hear that social media is very different from our real life. And actually, we released an episode about the elements of social media and how that's not necessarily true. If you think about it, like on Facebook, your timeline is what I would say is how you're dressed. Why? Because you choose what clothes to wear in the same way that you choose what posts to share on your timeline, what pictures you show on your timeline. So there are these elements in social media that are very, very closely related to how we do it in real life. So if we take a look at social media from that lens, in the same way that in real life we know the things that matter and we know the people that matter, then we can kind of apply that same mindset when we evaluate ourselves on social media. So, say in let's say you get 14 four, just four comments, and you're expecting 40. But if those four comments came from the people that really know you, came from the people that really value you, then those four comments will be the four comments that you will value in real life anyway. So in that way, the kind of relationships that we have in social media are also reflected or sometimes magnified from what we have in real life. But even if, let's say, right, that it's very different, then it also calls for us to be more aware that it is different. So I can't judge myself on the standards of social media from the standards of real life and the standards of another person, because there are statistics that will be different. Like, for example, someone can have 10,000 friends, you might only have 1,000. And if you're going to judge yourself on the likes and comments that that person gets, it's just simply a clear loss. So understanding that there are different metrics and there are different standards to social media is something that we need to remind ourselves. And at the end of the day, I think social media, for all that it can do to damage us, it is there to constantly allow us to be connected to the people that we value. And I think that as long as our strong ties and our relationships that keep us sane and keep us happy are there, I think it should be mitigated.
Okay. So, yes, now let me tell you from where I am coming. Okay, you're very much true that we are connected through social media, and that's how we both know each other. And I contacted you, and we just have this conversation, and it's a very very valuable conversation. Okay, don't you think that we don't have a mind for comprehension? A lot of people don't have a mind for comprehension that what is going over there is different from our life. I'm coming from that idea. And second thing is that we're talking about attitude. A negative attitude is very easy to form, because these are automatic, and on basis of that, our beliefs are formed, and beliefs are just belief are absolute thing. It's for you. It's a final statement for you that yes, this is happening, and this could happen, this cannot happen. And when we talk about when it's we talk about our behaviors, so social aspect as well, these attitude and beliefs are going to form our behavior, and it's affecting our whole life. So if we talk about those people who don't have the level of comprehension, who could get depressed from these people, and they don't have the social support which is required for them to tell that these things are different from your life. And second thing is that you can use that social media for positive aspect as well. For example, if we talk about each other, we are doing the same thing. You are doing something about social transformation. For suppose I'm doing something about mental health, creating some form of awareness. So we are using that on that aspect as well, and we were putting a lot of energy on that thing as well. I'm sure you're putting a lot of energy in that thing as well, and which is a positive thing. And it's very important for you to have positive things in your life, to engage in positive things as well. But my point over here is that people are not aware of that aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
For them, it's just like taking pictures, stuff like that. So that is a point where we need to aware these people as well, that how you can implement these things in your life, how you can change your life if you want to, and how you can change a thing for your positive influence as well. So I'm sure you get idea from where I was coming and why you asked the question, because
Yeah,
whenever we
yeah.
talk about attitude, we talk about belief, and we talk about transformation, because one one idea, one statement is enough to change your life. And you talk about, I really like your statement that you post something and you just get 2 comments or 3 comments on that, and there could be only one comment that can change your day. One
That's
comment,
right.
one statement that can boost your
Yeah,
energy, that can give you the confidence that 30 comments are not giving you. Yeah, so that is a positive aspect. There are positive of aspects, positive use of everything as well. But I think we need to aware the people what to do, how to do, and how to, because one thing is that because all the time what I thought about these things, we don't have a buffer zone for these things. You're taking a lot of energies from these things. Oh, this is beautiful,
yeah,
let's watch this. Oh, this is beautiful, let's watch this. So the the utility of our brains, it's too much, because I would let me share one study with you, because I'm working with autism as well, and autism is my
hmm,
specialty. So nowadays people talk about visual autism, and they say that the child is going to have some form of disorder, and they have some form of energy sorry language delay because the child is going to watch a lot of screen. So I study a research which was very relevant, and the research was that if a person, nowadays people are too much into social media, they are all the time scrolling down things, and there's a lot of colorful things on social media that they forget the science of dating. They
Mhm.
forget the science of relationships. Their relationships are affecting because they don't know how to understand or study the non-verbal cues.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this screen is taking that. I'm sure if you study, or you might find that study as well, that that screen is taking that non-verbal cues from them.
From
They're
them,
not
yeah.
allowing a person to, because whenever we talk about people that they get the date, and they went, then they don't know what to ask from that person, whether that person like him or not like him or not, because it's a very important thing. It's not just about dating, it's about our other relationship as well, that it's affecting our friendship, it's affecting our
Yeah,
communication, it's affecting our socialization. It's not just about the social media, I'm not saying that, but the screen is affecting us. The screen is
yeah.
affecting us overall. So that's why I talk about this thing, and that's why for me it's very important, to be aware of things, to be aware of the fact that how you're going to, limit that use. Whenever parents come to us and parents ask me, my child is using a lot of mobile, I tell them, like, we don't use mobile all the time. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
stop asking that child to use a mobile. Why don't limit
Yes,
that time?
yes.
You can limit the time. If you will not give time to your child, the child will go to the neighbor and take mobile from that person. And that at that moment you will not understand what the child is going to watch. Because this happened.
Yeah.
There's a German case that happened with me. A father said that we are not allowing a child to because the child was autistic, and he was using all the time mobile, and the child was watching a very, the game was very violent game, that was all the time killings and cuttings and eating the head and stuff like that. Sometimes a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
blood in that game as well. So the parents take the mobile immediately. So the child start spending a lot of time in their neighbor house. And after 1 month, the parents realize that the child is watching mobile over there. And over there, they didn't know what the child was watching. The child could watch anything, and over there, you don't know what your child is watching. So I'm
Yeah.
coming from that aspect that yes, we are doing everything we are using. You need to do things in moderation as well. Okay, so I I think I talked more than you actually.
Oh, no, no, it's
Okay,
okay.
so let's talk because as you're doing the research, it's my own, you could say, I also have the thirst for research, and I study a lot, and I read a lot of things on daily basis, and studying a lot of things. And you were very much right when I was doing these things. In start, I was not I don't understand what I'm doing, but now I'm just enjoying a lot because all the time there's a different culture for me, and they're sharing different aspects with me. So it's a
Yeah.
learning for me that how our uh, human beliefs, or you could say how the psychology of human is same and how it's different as well. So these things are very much learning for, it's a good learning for this awareness as well. So I'm actually learning from you people, I'm actually learning from my guests, and it's giving me a different kind of wiseness. And I'm very happy that I started these things, and I'm very happy that you are my guest, because the thing is that you are doing something else, like your job is something else, even then you are giving time to that thing, and you are doing research, and which is I would say that it's very important to stay aware that what facts in going in your life and what is happening around, because at the end of the day these things are important. At the end of the day, for us, relationships are important, emotions are important, you could say goals are important, and our own life is also important. But okay, I would also like to ask something from you, that you have seen a
Sure.
lot of people that who are very empathetic, and they want to give a lot of things to other people, but they are neglecting their own self. What you would say about these people, especially the young generation?
I think, actually, I think our generation, so like the younger millennials and the Gen Z, are more aware of the necessity of self-care, especially with the recent boom in awareness of mental health, especially depression and suicide. Now, more and more of the younger generation are saying, you know what, I'm not going to take this job because it's not good for my mental health, or I'm going to take mental health breaks. It's becoming more commonplace. However, despite that, I do recognize that there is still a good number of people that will sacrifice a lot of things for other people, but neglect to do things for themselves or for ourselves. And for that, really, the message is very simple. It's you can't give what you don't have. And if you think about it, a lot of the output that we give in the outside world, whether it be work or school or time that you spend with your family and with your friends, always requires to some degree some resource from you, whether it's your sleep and time, whether it's your actual skill, whether it's your intellect. And those things are infinite, yes, but they are also finite to an extent. Like, you can't expect yourself to be happy and jolly at work when you only sleep 2 hours a day. You can't expect yourself to enjoy and have a laugh with your loved ones when you're worrying about something else. So really, the call is it really starts from you. And as much as we hope that our social networks and our families and friends will be the one to tell us, hey, you should rest already, they also have their own lives to worry about. They also have their own problems to worry about. And at the end of the day, the person that knows best what's going on with you is you. So, what you actually need, what your problems are, what kind of solutions, and what kind of rest you need will ultimately fall on your shoulders. So, take the time to recognize your needs as well, because you will realize that as you fulfill your needs, you're allowing yourself to do more and be more and share more time with others.
Okay, so I would like to sum up this discussion, but I would request you to sum up this discussion because the work you're doing is, I would say, it's very important, and you're doing very good job. I would like you to conclude the session on the aspect that belief, whether it's negative or positive, or attitude, whether it's negative or positive, and how we can, you could say, if we want to transform ourselves, because if you're talking about social transformation, that transformation comes from within, and that's what you just said, that it's you, and at the end of the day it's you, because at the end of the day you will be alone to share your, to hold your own burden, to hold your own bag, to wear your own bag. Nobody will come for you. But man is a social animal, and we all know that we have to look for certain aspects as well. But what if a person is, getting too much, affected from the other things, or taking a lot of things from others instead of, having their own say? What you would suggest to these people? Because, what other people will think about me, why they are thinking, because it is also coming, that's how they jeopardize your working and jeopardize your intelligence as well, that you think of people all the time. For you, their say is very important. For you, their judgment is very important. For you, their liking is very important for you. And what you do at that aspect, whenever you select other people to build the life for you, to to
Yeah.
build the narrative for you, it's going to jeopardize your own life. So I would like you to comment on this thing as well, that how you can change this narrative.
Yeah. I want to answer that in two ways. So, number one, I think it's important to recognize that we can have positive and negative beliefs and attitudes, and that's perfectly normal because no one's perfect. We're going to find imperfections in how we are, and recognizing that we are not perfect paves way for us to find ways to develop ourselves. Because imagine if we were all just perfect, then what else would we do in life? So I think the framing there is to see yourself as, instead of saying, oh, I'm not good at this, think of it as, I'm not yet good at this, or I'm going to get good at this. So, but the key takeaway there is there will be negative things about you. There will be negative things that you think about yourself, but that's not to say that you're a negative person. If we were a book, that would be a negative few sentences, but the book is still a great story. The book is still a great novel. So that's the first part. Second, we're social beings, and whether we deny it or not, we can't help but put value in what people say about us or in what people think about us. And that's normal. So if you think that, oh, I think too much about what people say, maybe you think too much, but to an extent, it's normal. We just can't help it. But it's on us to draw the line, Because if we come from a place where we know what we're working on, and if we come from a place where we know what we're improving on, often these things are not known to other people. Actually, most of the time they don't know your story, they don't know what you're going through, they don't know what you're working through. And it's up to us to draw the line that, for example, if we hear things like, oh, he's not good at this, we're the ones that can tell ourselves, oh, but I'm already working on that, and you just don't know it. So it's this self conversations that we have that becomes our barrier against the thoughts and the conversations
Well
of
said.
other people, because often other people come from a place of ignorance and not from a place of judgment. Of course, there are naturally, there are just some bad people in the world. And for that, we really can't do anything about it. But often when people point fingers or when people give judgments, it often comes from a place of ignorance and not knowing any better. And because we do know better and because we know ourselves better, we can ask ourselves, act as the shield for us against all these thoughts. Because yes, what they think matters, what they say about us matters, but at the end of the day, what we do about it
Yes,
and what we think about ourselves is ultimately what will change ourselves and is ultimately what we will show to other people.
true. Over here, I would like to say that it's a lot that we did not, we are not getting affected from these people because maybe you have heard from the personality, social media personality, that they say that we don't give a say or we don't, pay attention to the negative things they're talking about us. But at one day, they are going to, think about everything what people are saying about that or what people are talking about that. But over here, one thing is very important that it's true that you know what you are doing, you know what you can do, and you are doing everything for yourself. It's not about that. Nobody is coming when you are crying in the in the room, and nobody will come for you if you're hungry. Nobody will come for you if you're thirsty. You have to drink your own water by yourself. You have to earn for your own self and stuff like that. So you cannot say that it's not, you cannot, or you could say that you cannot get affected of these people, do this or give some people hypothetical solution that cut your ties with these people, don't listen to them. Because if
Yeah.
we from others perspective, these people are giving you a way to improve yourself.
Yes,
These people
yes.
are giving you a challenge. Yes, if they are saying that you cannot do this, so they are transforming you. It's up to you that how you're taking these things, that how you're breaking these stereotypes. So thank you so much for the the valuable discussion we have today, and thank you so much the time and the energy you give us today, and the valuable
Thank
researches
you.
you have done, and especially giving your own example by, because the question I asked, in every question you put your own self and you share your own life story with this thing as well. So that was interesting discussion for me. And is there something you want to add up this, so that after that we will end up this session?
Well,
If you
thank
want to
you
add
for
something in
having
this
me.
discussion.
Thank you as well for having me. You do also do important work. Maybe just a last message. We're the best version of ourselves. It's just a matter of unfolding it and revealing it. We were born as ourselves, and that's already the best version of it. Sometimes you forget, sometimes it's overwhelmed by expectations, but it's there. We just have to unravel it.
Okay, thank you so much, thank you so much. I would like to, on the behalf of Pakistani nation from Philippines, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much for joining us, and thank you so much for acting with us. See you in another, and I would like you to, involve you in the discussion as well, because that was something really mattered. I mean, I would say that the discussion was more about uh, uh, what you could do, how you could change yourself, which I would say that was very relevant. That what you are doing, because that is subjective, that is to the point, and the thing you are doing are affecting people as well. And time will come that you would get what you are trying to get from these things. Maybe the maybe you're not taking the validation, but your purpose just is just to create the awareness. And thank you so much for awareing our nation today. And see you important discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
And my YouTube, my Facebook people, thank you so much. See you in the discussion. And I have another session today as well. Stay tuned for that session as well. I talk to my own viewers. Bye bye. button is not working. Some technical issue and button is not working to end the broadcast. Maybe the social media don't want us to go. something something is happening over here. And it's literally not working. Maybe I'm sweating. Okay, end broadcast.